Yeah. We are back at the Undercover Policing Inquiry. It is Tranche 3, Phase 2, first day of hearings. I am joined by Dave Smith from the Blacklist Support Group.
Hello.
And Dan Gilman.
Oh, yeah.
Who was witness last time. Today we've got Joe Batty giving evidence this morning. We've got 6 weeks of evidence. No, we've got 7 weeks of evidence. We've got 2 weeks, then we've got a week off, then we're back for another 5 weeks. There's going to be 5 undercover officers giving evidence during this phase. 5 of the women who were deceived by them into long-term intimate relationships, plus another 11 activist witnesses. Joe Batty today, not someone I know, someone both you gentlemen know, as I understand.
Yep, me and Dan know Joe really well.
Yeah.
Do you want to say something, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't an anti-fascist activity in the time I was active that Joe Batty wasn't also there by his side doing the same things, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, Joe was a... Joe, oh, there we go.
I forgot to do those ones. Yeah, we are now live on Instagram and TikTok as well. I hadn't set that bit up. Dry run.
Okay. Yeah, Joe Batty, who's the witness today in the Spike Ops inquiry, was T&G steward. So another union person being spied on by undercover police. And he was also, very prominent anti-racist, anti-fascist campaigner during the 90s, and to be honest, to this day, still very, 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 very active, working with Hope Not Hate and other people like that. We've seen some of the witness statements that have come out, and we've seen some of the remarks that have come out by Carlo Siraci, who was the undercover police officer who was spying on him. And we think it's going to be, we're here to give moral support and drink the inquiry's tea and coffee.
There's a lot of drinking the inquiry's tea and coffee going on. So spied on by Carlo Siraci. I mean, who... A lot has been made of the fact that he spied on anti-fascists. What's becoming very clear is that he spied on trade union activity quite extensively as well. Was that the case for Joe Batty?
Yeah, I mean, Carlo's supposed to be spying just on anti-fascists, but every report he had, he had 2 reports a week on anti-fascists, and every other report would also mention they've been in the trade union activity, linked to our trade unions, regular reports and feedbacks on trade union activities and demonstrations and pickets taking place. So, yeah, I mean, it was a front, wasn't it? And Carlo was a political police spy, and any politics he came across, he would spy upon it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that sums up exactly, what these SDS officers were doing. The idea that it was demarcated into one little area is just this convenient nonsense that's being pushed by the police at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, the more you listen to it, and even in all honesty, the police themselves, when they're giving evidence, certainly Mark Jenner, when I knew him, Mark Cassidy, when he was giving evidence just before Christmas, he quite openly said, I was there to hoover up anything. My job was to hoover up anything that I thought was of any relevance whatsoever. So it's no wonder that when the people that they're spying on are all trade unionists, they're hoovering up loads and loads of information about trade unions. And Peter Francis, when he gave evidence, I think very clearly, probably more than anyone, literally said, individual trade unions have got special branch registry files. And to get a special branch registry file means that special branch deem you as an individual or the organisation as subversive and therefore a target in your own right to spy on. So the union I was a member of had their own special branch registry file. So, any time they came across us, they would feed information into it. And, Joe was a T&G, shop steward, it says it all really.
I think it's quite interesting, actually. One of the things Peter Francis pointed out was that normally it took 3 mentions for you to get a special registry file of your own. But if you were a member of a trade union that had a registry file, then it was only 1 mention, and then you got your registry file of your own. Which really sums up how much it's not just that they were also spying on trade unions, but that spying on trade unions was at the heart of what the SDS were doing.
Because there's a mindset within the leadership of Special Branch and all of the political policing organisations, and certainly within MI5, that trade unions are potentially a threat to the state. That we're campaigning about deaths on building sites or unpaid wages or health and safety, and they see us as we're potentially going to overthrow, the British state, if only.
I mean, if only. But I think there is that understanding within the aristocracy that actually working class political organisation is a threat to them and their domination of society, and they should be worried.
Since they introduced the Combinations Act, since they sort of arrested the Chartists and sent the Tolpole Martyrs to Australia. Clearly. I mean, moving off of that, because sorry, I'm just looking for time because we're going to go in there soon. One of the things that's clearly going to come up today is the allegation that we wrote in our book, and Dan and Joe have both put in their witness statements, as Frank Smith earlier on, about Carlo Siraci inciting activists to petrol bomb a charity shop. I mean, I know I've spoken many platforms and many meetings with Joe over the years, even at Glastonbury and stuff like that. You've met Joe at Glastonbury?
I have met, I did meet Joe at Glastonbury, absolutely, yeah, many moons ago now. Actually, that's going back probably about 2014.
Well,
maybe?
a few times he's been there. Yeah. So, he tends to turn up when we're doing stuff there, and he's been quite open about it. I'll let Dan tell the story.
Well, I'm hoping Joe gets a chance to put across our collective point of view to the accusation that we tried to petrol bomb a charity shop we didn't know existed, didn't know it was a front to the fascists. How we talked about it, the spy cop never once reported on us talking about it. The only person could possibly have known it existed was the spy cop. Certainly wasn't me and Joe. So I'd be keen for Joe to get the chance to give his point of view rather than just get a tirade of questions, just trying to undercut and undermine the anti-fascism we did. It'd be great if Joe gets a chance to put across his point of view, because there's been articles in the press this week. There's a piece on Women's Hour this morning. The accusation that me and Joe and others tried to set fire at a charity shop is out there. It's been out there by the spy cops. No one anywhere has said, no, we didn't do it. It was the spy cops. I know our lawyers asked for it to be a final judgment. Who came up with the idea, Carlo or us? And it does affect our employment. Now, we've been on blacklists before. If this accusation by the spy cops to try to set fire at a charity shop is out there, it's just back on the blacklist. Yeah, and then it's the way in which it's a really convenient way in which they smear activists, come up with these harebrained schemes and then report it back as if, they've managed to uncover some secret ploy to do serious violence.
Yeah, but given the fact that all of their justification for their deployment was that they were going to find serious criminality, people are going to use violence, people are going to, genuinely, be a threat to democracy, then actually, as Dan said, if it was true that a group of, trade union activists suggested that, they should all go and petrol bomb a charity shop, then you would think that might be the kind of thing that was written in one of his reports. Seeing as he's got fucking 2 reports a week on dross, on where you're going out for a drink and what football team, you bloody all personal stuff on you. Yet this thing that would actually be within the definition of subversion it's supposedly spying on, it doesn't make the report at all. It doesn't, and there's this sort of almost suggestion that we sort of made this up and sexed it up after the event. I wasn't at the party where this where Siraci incited people to do it, but I knew a lot of people were, Dan, Frank, Joe, and others. And even before we knew Siraci was an undercover police officer, we organised collectively a meeting at the Guardian's offices in London to speak to Rob Evans, who wrote the book Undercover, to basically say, look, we've got, we've read your book, we've seen what's coming out in the newspapers, we've got suspicions that this individual was an undercover police officer. And at that meeting, years before it was confirmed he was an undercover police officer, everyone who was there, who was at that party, all told the same story about, Carlo inciting people to go and petrol bomb a charity shop. Now, this isn't after the event, sexing it up in order to try and, sling mud. If it proved that he wasn't an undercover police officer, that it's just some geezer that we know who's a bit leery. But it's not. This is confirmed by multiple witnesses, and whatever these undercover police are doing, they're supposedly there to defend democracy. They are the people subverting democracy. They are the people who are actually, going against democratic campaigning organisations. And exactly as Dan said, we all know how blacklisting works. Joe's on the blacklist. I'm on the blacklist. Many other people on here on the blacklist. Not all trade unionists, because once these stories get out there, they get, you get onto a police file. Those police files are shared with big business. They don't even admit they're not. They're quite open about the fact they're used for the vetting. Vetting is just another word for, for blacklisting. And, they're putting smear stories out in the newspapers. As I said, literally this morning, there's articles, in which it's Dan is smeared, Well, who's going to, if you can't get a job in the future, who's going to bloody pay for that? Because these people deserve to, be able to account.
Where to go on Sports Radio?
We need to go in. Yeah. Hearings will start at 10 a.m. for us. There is a 10-minute delay, as there always is. You can tune in with the link that's just in the description to the hearings from 10 past 10. Please join us then. During the first break, we'll do another video and update what we hear from Joe. Thanks for joining us.
Also, Alison's on Woman's Hour in about an hour from now.
Yes, tune into that.
In fact, just now. She's starting any minute now.
Yeah. Cheers for joining us. Bye for now.